Let's hop on board a train and travel from the Netherlands to some of the most incredible mountain villages in Switzerland. We are headed to the Swiss Alps.
Hi, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Scott.
And in a recent video that we posted that we'll link in the description, we shared the pros and the cons of booking a big trip as a group tour versus planning and booking everything on your own. So a few years ago, our family decided to take a trip to Europe, and we decided to book with a tour group. And it was a wonderful trip. It literally changed the course of our lives, and that's no exaggeration. And it even inspired our daughter to study abroad in the Netherlands the next year.
Yeah, and after that trip, we just felt like we had a lot more confidence to plan a trip on our own. And so that's what we did. A year later, we went and visited our daughter in the Netherlands. And then we all took a trip from the Netherlands all the way to Switzerland and visited several places in Switzerland, including Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, and Zermatt. So come along with us as we show you some of the spectacular places that the amazing European train system can take you.
We started our journey in Utrecht, Netherlands, and spent a few days there doing some of our favorite activities, like visiting Dom Square, kayaking in the canals through the city, and exploring the Utrecht University Botanical Gardens. We've talked about these and other Netherlands experiences in our earlier video series called Our Netherlands Story, and we'll be covering more about the Netherlands and the city of Utrecht in future episodes. Our train journey to Switzerland began at Utrecht Central Station in the Netherlands. Our first connection was in Düsseldorf, Germany, and then we made several stops through Germany until finally making it to Basel, Switzerland. From Basel, we went through Bern, then Interlaken, and then finally Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland, where we would stay in the nearby town of Mürren for a few days. The full trip to Lauterbrunnen would take us a little over 10 hours. Then the final leg of our journey would be to the picturesque town of Zermatt, Switzerland.
It was a very long travel day for us, but we were prepared. Something to note about train travel is that connections are often very short, and there usually isn't much time to get food at the stations. Some trains have food available on board, but the selection is very limited. We planned for this and brought enough food and drinks to get us through a 10-hour journey. The trains in the Netherlands were perfectly on time, and so were all the trains in Switzerland. In Germany, however, we did have some delays and missed some connections, making for a journey that was a couple of hours longer than expected. Overall, however, there weren't too many problems, considering the distance that we were covering, and if you go into it with patience, expecting that there could be delays, it feels less frustrating than plane travel. There are various apps that you can use to buy train tickets and navigate international train travel through Europe. We used the Deutsche Bahn app to get from Utrecht to Basel, Switzerland, and then we used the Switzerland SBB mobile app to navigate through Switzerland. Fortunately, our daughter had already been living in Europe for a while and was comfortable navigating the train systems, and she got us all the way there without any major hiccups.
Eventually, we were traveling past the beautiful lakes of Interlaken, Switzerland, and then we're traveling through the mountains on the way to Lauterbrunnen. It was evening when we finally approached Lauterbrunnen Valley, where we could see the majestic mountains towering over the houses below. It was an amazing feeling when we glided to a stop at the beautiful train station in this picturesque town, where we could see directional signs to Lauterbrunnen and Grindelwald, two places that we had been dreaming about for years. It felt wonderful to exit the train and walk around for a while. Lauterbrunnen is absolutely breathtaking, with wooden Swiss chalets and shops along quiet streets with immense mountains, granite cliffs, and waterfalls in all directions. We sat down and had a nice dinner here in complete awe of the surrounding beauty. Our final destination for the day, though, was the nearby town of Mürren, What we didn't plan adequately was how we would get to Mürren, because although it looks very close on a map, it is actually in the mountains about 850 meters or 2,800 feet above Lauterbrunnen.
We had to ask the waitress at the restaurant how to get there, and the only options were 2 cable cars, or a cable car and a mountain train. We took the 2 cable cars, but it was dark by the time we made it up there, so here we are showing you the cable car and the train route that we took on a different day. Both the cable car and mountain train provided spectacular views of Lauterbrunnen Valley and the surrounding mountains. After a long day of travel and then ascending into the Alps, we made it to the beautiful mountain village of Mürren. We arrived after dark and easily found our way to the apartment that we rented, but it wasn't until the next morning when we were able to see all of the incredible scenery and truly appreciate how gorgeous this place is. There were beautiful chateaus everywhere, and all of them had balconies with incredible views of Lauterbrunnen Valley and the Jungfrau region of the Swiss Alps, where the enormous trio of peaks called the Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau tower over and dominate the scene. Mürren is considered to be a car-free village because it is only reachable by cable car. It is very quiet most of the time, but when we were there, there was construction going on at one end of the village, and small work vehicles would routinely drive along the street.
Just walking around the village is amazingly peaceful, and there are incredible views in all directions. There are also several hiking trails in the area that you can easily walk to, and we spent a lot of time walking these trails in search of even more spectacular views. On these hikes, we found many small waterfalls cascading down the mountains. There were magical forests with dense trees and foliage growing precariously along very steep slopes. There were rocky streams trickling with the most beautiful sounds as we walked along small winding paths through fields of colorful wildflowers. One of our favorite finds was a huge field filled with fluffy cotton grass flowers, all surrounded by evergreen trees and rolling hills of bright green grass. This was a perfect place to frolic, breathe in the wonderful fresh air, and celebrate how happy we felt in this moment. The next day, we went back down to Lauterbrunnen and then took a train to the beautiful village of Grindelwald, which sits in a different valley than Lauterbrunnen and at a higher elevation, but is still in the same mountain region. It was about a 39-minute train ride past spectacular mountain vistas and countless wooden chalets until we came to a stop at Grindelwald station.
Incredible mountains surround this picturesque village, and the views here are jaw-dropping. This is a popular tourist destination, so there are many shops and restaurants, outdoor parks, and tourist attractions. This place is all about the mountains and views, and the most dramatic ones are reached by cable car. We walked to a cable car station called Toboggan for a ride up into the mountains to a destination called Toboggan. Here, not only are there incredible views both above and below, this is the location of the famous Grindelwald summer toboggan run, where you can cruise down the mountain in a sled while gazing at the stunning valley below. I cheered for Cassandra as she zipped down the toboggan run, and then it was my turn. Here I go. After the toboggan, we were ready for the flyline ride through the trees. Cassandra got strapped into the hanging swing first, and then she was away, gliding through the mountain forest. After she disappeared around the corner, it was my turn to hop on and begin my descent. This was probably the most fun and relaxing ride I have ever been on. The ride was very smooth and quiet, and the whole time I was mesmerized by the nature surrounding me. I saw Cassandra a few times on the way down, and I could tell that, like me, she was having the time of her life.
This is one of those rides where you can completely relax and take in the whole experience, watching treetops and branches go by, and occasionally catching glimpses of incredible mountain views, reminding us that we are really here, in the Swiss Alps, near Grindelwald. We had been dreaming of visiting Grindelwald for years, and it ended up being far better than we ever imagined. After 3 days visiting Grindelwald, Lauterbrunnen, and Mürren, it was time to board another train and head south to Zermatt. The village of Zermatt is filled with beautiful Swiss chalets and has many wonderful shops and restaurants. The Vispa River runs through the village and gets its water from glaciers in the mountains high above. The iconic Matterhorn mountain peak can be seen from almost anywhere in the village, and most of the hotels and guest houses are positioned for beautiful views of the Matterhorn. We rented an apartment here for 4 nights and had this incredible view of the Matterhorn from our balcony.
From anywhere in the village, it is easy to walk to a cable car station and head up into the mountains for some of the most amazing views anywhere. On one of these adventures, we took a cable car up to Schwarzsee station at an elevation of 2,583 meters or 8,474 feet. Here we could see the village of Zermatt far below, and everywhere around us were immense snow-capped mountain peaks, dramatic valleys, glaciers, and rivers. We did some hiking up here and were able to get pretty close to the base of the Matterhorn. At even higher elevations, close to 3,000 meters or 9,842 feet, the grass even disappears and there is nothing but colorful rock formations, lakes, ice, and snow. On a different day, we went up to the Blauherd cable station and did about a 40-minute hike to Lake Stellisee, where we hope to see one of the most iconic views of the Matterhorn. Here, among giant boulders along the sides of the mountains, we walked through rolling fields of grass and wildflowers with stunning views of the Matterhorn and other mountains across a deep valley. We stopped several times to take in all of the incredible scenery around us while making slow progress toward Lake Stellisee.
Finally, we made it to the lake and were amazed at how many fish we could see swimming around in the crystal clear water. We walked around to the far side of the lake, turned around, and gazed at one of the most breathtaking sights of our lives. We even had a few moments when the breeze calmed down and we saw a perfect reflection of the magnificent Matterhorn on the surface of Lake Stellisee. After a wonderful afternoon at the lake, we hiked back to Blauherd cable car station, enjoying spectacular views of the Matterhorn the entire way. From Blauherd, we were looking forward to taking a different way down the mountain. We planned on renting mountain carts, like large-wheeled tricycles, to ride down the first part of the mountain to Sonaga station, and then would rent kick bikes, like large scooters, to get the rest of the way down to Zermatt. The mountain carts were fun and the views were amazing, But the carts do not have any type of suspension or shock absorbers, so you feel every bump on this very bumpy road. The kick bikes were faster and the roads were smoother, but some people, like adults who have not ridden a scooter in a very long time, might not feel safe riding these down a mountain. Our teenage kids love the kick bikes, but we suggest taking the gondola and funicular down.
This day in the mountains over Zermatt has been one of our favorite travel days ever, and our memories from this journey to Switzerland will be with us our entire lives. We were so proud to have planned this international journey through Europe on our own, and are very happy that you could come along with us on this amazing adventure. For another international journey through Europe, watch our Scotland travel series when we travel from the Netherlands to Edinburgh and eventually to the Highlands of Scotland. We use planes and buses to get to historic Edinburgh, take a scenic train to get to Inverness, the capital of the Scottish Highlands, and rent a car to visit Loch Ness, castles, and puffins. If you love epic journeys, history, wildlife, and scenic views, you will want to join us on this adventure.